Peace and high frequencies, everybody. Y'all see the galaxy and the universe on my nails? All right. Yes. So I wanted to share some things that happened this week. This week has been definitely an interesting week of traveling in the astral realm and interacting with people in this reality. We have, of course, what we talked about on the 29th, been going through a shift or leaps, quantum jumps of energy. And we've also been experiencing, and I can definitely say we, because I know I'm not the only one, so I'll make it all inclusive for other individuals who probably experiencing this as well, is the dream state. And the astral travel has been moving a lot and it's been very active. And I've been experiencing a lot of timelines, but also bringing up work that needs to be done, right? Some things that I may not have noticed. And this happens because, of course, we don't know until we know. There are things that may need to be worked on within ourselves in order for us to be better, just to be better people, to ascend to a higher frequency, and just overall raise the vibration within this planet. And those things have been coming up in my dream, things that I may not have dealt with. And when I wake up, like even today when I woke up, I was like, oh my God, I had to really go back into a deep meditation just to move or shake off some energy that I hadn't dealt with, that it brought itself into the astral plane in order for me to deal with it, and also for me to see. I'm just gonna run the red light, okay. In order for me to see some things within myself that I need to work on, that I may have overlooked, I may have just ignored, or didn't even know till it was really brought like face to face with it in the dream, and I actually saw myself. And that's really what happened in the dream state today through a guided meditation. I was actually seeing myself. I saw myself speaking about myself in another, it felt like it was in another timeline, but it was some things that I was saying that, even though I don't think I come off like that, it's a possibility that I can come off to others like this. So it's making me just look at myself more so, and not making sure that I'm not being selfish in any way. And selfish in a way that I'm speaking of is like, I'm not the only one. Like I'm not the only one. And mostly in the dynamic of partnership. So that was brought to my awareness. Now, a series of events brought me to the tire shop on Wednesday morning. After my son inspected my tire, of course my light came on my car, my son inspected it. He said that my stem was bent, but he actually came and got my car, took the tire to get it inspected, and I had to get my tire replaced. But anyway, while I'm at Sam's Club, letting the guy, take my tire off and do all this work, there was another white guy that was there before me that was sitting there next to me. And he decided to hand me over a pamphlet. And lo and behold, you already know, this pamphlet was talking about, do you know why Jesus died, or something like that. It was something about Jesus. Yeah, I don't know. And if you watched any of my previous videos I've done, let's let the flower of life shine, y'all. The previous videos that I've done about Christianity, about the Kojic people, about religion in general, you know, I'm not a religious person in any regard at all. I have studied various religions and I read books, and I, you know, researched a little bit. I'm not a in-depth researcher. I'm kind of surface, where I get enough information. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, you know. And so he sat down next to me, gave me the pamphlet. I took the little Jesus pamphlet and I set it on top of my purse because had my earbuds in and I was listening to YouTube. I didn't want to be rude and, you know, in any way, and, you know, throw it away. And then I wasn't up for conversation at all, so I didn't give it back to him because that would have created a conversation. Either way, you know, I just wasn't in the mood to really engage anybody. It was, you know, I'm not an early birdie, so it was early in the morning, about 9 o'clock. That's early for me, and I just wasn't trying to have a conversation, especially with this old ass white man. So I just set the pamphlet on top of my purse, went back to listening to YouTube to these people finish with my tire. And then he goes and asks me, do you go to church? I was like, oh, here we go. No, I don't go to church. He was like, oh, you mind me asking why? I said, well, you know, I just, you know, just don't believe in going to church. You know, I have my other thought processes and my belief system. And from what I've known, what I've researched, that's not the place that I want to be, you know. He said, well, did you grow up in the church? I said, yeah, I know all about the church, the Bible. It's just not a place for me. And so, you know, I could tell that he started to dig. So I went ahead and just blew his fucking top off. I was like, okay, he just wanted to go ahead and get it because he just not going to leave me alone. I'm sitting here and I just want to listen to YouTube this morning. And being that I can't do that, let me go ahead and just let him know who the fuck I am. So I went ahead and told him that, you know, from Buddhism, Taoism, Hinduism, Christianity, Muslim, or all of these various religions that are here are constructed, you know, for social control as well as political. I said I don't have any stake in any of them, although all of them reign true in a central theme that goes into their same thought processes of tranquility, love, and these various tenets for living on this earth plane. And I said I agree in all of the religions on that alone. You know, I'm all about, and I said I live on the whole aspect of love, right? So I said that's what reigns true. And I said from the Bhagavad Gita to the I Ching to the Torah to the Bible, I said going and reading these books, and then just understanding that all of them have all of these various tenets for living life. So, you know, he had never heard of any of these books, of course. And then he asked me, he said, when you read these books, I'm sure they were in English, right? And I was like, yeah, just like the Bible was translated. Book was translated as well. I said the Bible wasn't in English. Even though you have the King James Version, it wasn't beginning in English. It actually, that whole story of the, you know, virgin birth and the Jesus story actually came from Heru, or, you know, Asar and Aset, from the Dendera temple, the temple of Dendera, in Africa. So he's like, oh, okay. He's like, well, do you believe Jesus historically? I was like, no, I don't believe that Jesus is true for me. The story, I do love the story. I think it's a great story. Just like the story of Krishna is a great story. The story of Buddha is a great story. I love the thoughts of Confucius. Like, all of these are wonderful ways to live here on this earth plane. So he was just sitting there, and I ended up pulling him in. I talked about the Oahspe. He had never heard of that book. And so he stated to me, he said, oh, so you're a thinker. And it was interesting that he said that. I'm like, yeah, I read and I do think, and then I draw conclusions. I'm not just a robot or a sheeple out here just going through life and not having my own thought process of what's going on in the world, right? So, I guess that took him by surprise that I had read these books, that I just wasn't going along to get along, that, Jesus ain't the way, the truth, and the light for me. I am my own way, truth, and the light. And so I believe that I shed some light to him, although he said, you didn't ask me, but I'm gonna share my story. And I said, oh, okay, go ahead. So he shared with me how he had been on drugs, and how he had lived this wild life, and someone presented him with the Christianity, the Jesus story, philosophy, all of that, and that's what saved him. And I said, wonderful. I said, my thoughts are whatever works for you. If it's Christianity, if it's Buddhism, Taoism, which is just the way. Taoism even really, Taoism, I can't put that in there because it's not a religion. If you're into Judaism, Muslim, whatever it is, whatever works for you to get you on the path to being a light or a better person in this world, kudos. That's the only thing we are looking forward to do. So I told him, I just have read and researched and know so much at this point that I know what religions are. So I don't put all of my energy into one particular religion. I feel like all of them have wonderful stories that we all can learn something from, on how to be better people and how to show others how to be better people in this world. And that's the way that I live my life. And he said that his birthday was going to be March 11, 1970. He'll be 54. And he was just amazed. He was like, how, and I told him that, I've practiced martial art for 30 years. And, he was just amazed. And, I don't know if he was amazed that I was a black woman. I don't know if he was amazed the fact that I just read, just being an individual, or being a person here in Memphis, that they don't deem most African Americans or black people here to be as educated and smart and self-taught like that. And then people in general, just across the world, just take what is given to them and they run with it. They don't do a lot of reading and research because it could have been that. So who knows? I don't know. But it was definitely interesting that he made the statement that, oh, you're a thinker. And so I want to put that on your mind for everybody. Be a thinker. I only share what the dreams that come to me, the information that I read, and the only level of consciousness that I'm on right now. But I also am putting this out to you all. Read for yourself, research for yourself, go into meditation for yourself, go on psychedelic trips for yourself. All of these are ways to receive information from your higher self, right? I tapped into sacred geometry. Tap into sacred geometry. There's a lot of information there. Travel the world. When I told him that I went to Taiwan, woo, huge for him, right? So these are things that we should do for ourselves. Get your passport, get out of the country, travel the world, go see how other people live in different parts of the world, especially the indigenous people, because they hold a lot of information and a lot of wealth of knowledge that's not going to be shared in a book. So that's what I wanted to share today. I know we're going into an eclipse somewhere soon. I'm definitely feeling the eclipse energy, and it's bringing up things in me that I'm reflecting on and looking into. I'm also seeing other things that are happening in various dynamics of different relationships that I have with people that I care about, I love. So I'm seeing that also play out too. So just, eyes open, ears out open, listening, heart open and full. and just doing those things that we should do just to raise our frequency and just to be better. All right, so that's what I wanted to share today. I'm gonna give me some tea, and as always, I'm gonna leave you in peace and high frequencies.